Chris and Brandon with the Kabuki Strength Team, and we're going over dead bugs. We use the dead or dying bug movement to bring awareness to positioning that's really critical for essentially all of our lifts or any of our loaded movement patterns, and also as a developmental tool and a developmental reset as well. So we're going to start with, and this is what we really want to learn from this is learn this sternal crunch position. So usually what we do is we have people start by basically just raising this area up and go down, and we'll do this like 10 times. And we want them to watch to make sure they're not pushing it down with the pelvis or raising the shoulders off the floor to drive it down. So boom. And now we want them to hold this position by driving that in there. If you're working with a client, you could slide your hand under there and tap the center of the back immediately opposite the sternum point here. And that will have them crush your finger. At the same time, you don't want to have them lose this space down here in the low back. So they should be able to have a little bit of space there and cranking this down. You can use a strap as well. So this is one of our, we almost always use this. If they're a strap, I just grab my belt because it's handy. I'm going to slide it, again, right into this position here. Okay. And I'm going to have him hold it while I pull. So as soon as he releases tension, this is going to come out. So that's a great cueing mechanism for learning that position. Now we're going to move to some of our breathing and bracing strategies. So this is where it becomes movement for working on quality intra-abdominal pressurization, core development tool, if you want to use it in that manner. So we're going to have him inflate. See, I put my finger right in his oblique, right down here in the lower abdomen, boom. Or I could work into the area, which is one of our cueing strategies for the squat as well. Find the rib about 2 to 3 inches apart. So V with my hand here, find the lowest rib, go right below it, have them inflate that area, yet holding this down. Boom. So those are 2 different cueing strategies. Same thing that we're teaching in the squat. So you can see how this plays over really well. So that's it from a basically core positioning standpoint. So the next thing that we want to do is start getting some hip movement in there. So we're going to move Brandon's legs up into a 90 degree. And we're going to go roughly basketball width apart right here. Okay? And then we're going to have him go ahead and get that sternal position. Inflate here. So normally I would be testing all of that, pulling on the strap at the same time, but I'm going to be over here demonstrating this to you. So now we're going to keep this triple flexion, the 90 here and the 90 here, and we're going to have him move this leg down and touch the floor and come back up. When he comes back up, then we'll have him do the other leg. So now we've got core stabilization, proper position, and we're getting movement through the hip. So this can be a basic dead bug. We can advance this by having him reach with the hands, and we're going to have him reach with the serratus. So higher, a little bit more. Remember, there's always more. So you can get him in that position, and now we have him move through the movement again. Boom. So we've got it more challenging. Go ahead and take a break for a second, Brandon. Okay. So our next, we're going through several advancements here, and then there'll be some other videos where we cover even more advanced dying bug positions from a wall bug. Okay, so let's get back into position again with knees up at 90, quality IAP, sternal crunch, reaching. So what I want Brandon to do here is bring the knee and the hand together. Boom, there we go. And now switch. So that goes down and then up. Boom. So now we've got movement in the hip and the shoulder while we hold those positions. You can see Brandon struggling. This is very hard. So let's go ahead and stop for a minute, Brandon. You can get up on your knees. So from a developmental standpoint, a lot of times if we're working on and getting that core engaged properly with the shoulders or the hip. We're working on improving the quality of the IAP. We will do this for sets of 3 sets of 10 on an off day or at the end of a training session. If we're doing this from a developmental reset, trying to get people cued and really getting everything working properly before they train, we would do like 1 set of 4 before, you know, a bench, deadlift, squat session. We don't want to go very aggressive with that because this can be a very taxing movement. Even though it doesn't look like it, once you try it, you'll discover that it is. We don't want to go into a fatigue state. We just want just enough to prime those firing patterns, get everything working and talking together correctly. Brandon, do you have any additional input on this?
Yeah, I think the 2 things that really stood out to me with that was when you were cueing me to reach not only up but crossbody, we were cueing to reach with the serratus and not the shoulder. And that was actually a huge difference from what I had been doing. Whereas when I do these quite frequently on my own, but it's always been through the shoulder and really extending through the shoulder, whereas you were cueing me to reach through that serratus, and that was tremendous. I think the other thing that's really important is that the movement in the hip comes from the hip and not the low back. Yes. It's very easy to lose that lumbar position when you're extending that hip down, and you need to really cue yourself to only use that hip to move.
Yes. So that's where we want that quality of the IAP, not to lose that pelvis position at all. This is absolutely critical. And that's why we like having the triple flexion in the other 2 joints, so that all our movement is just in that hip. And yes, I can't reiterate, the reaching with the serratus is a key cue there.
Yeah, very important.
All right, that's dead bugs, and you can look for the advanced pieces of this as well.